wherever I heard noise, that's where I went. If you're looking through the window instead of looking in that mirror, a certain amount of what comes out of you is just exploration, you know.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Eyes to Us. I am your host, André Zamore, speaker and coach. And today, we got another fun one. Trust me. You see, today, we're going to talk about the reason why we want to fit in so bad. And I'm not going to talk to myself. I'm not going to do a solo episode. No, today I'm going to be joined by a guest. And this guest knows plenty about fitting in. But first, I want to really situate you and really let you know why I wanted to pick this topic on the reason why we want to fit in so bad. You see, growing up, I always felt the pressure of fitting in, especially being a minority and one of the only black person in my town. You know, that could be to wearing different clothes in order to hang out with the cool kids or adopting new slangs, which the dumbest sometimes. So today's topic, I know many of us has faced at some point in our lives. Why do we want to fit in so bad? You see, we'll explore the dynamics of fitting in, the impact of having trustworthy friends on your mental health and your ambitions. So let's dive in. Let's talk about the difference between being someone who's local and someone who's immigrating to Canada and what it means social economically. You see, as a minority, you might feel the pressure to conform to a dominant culture. For example, I have a few friends that come from Asia, and when they arrive to Canada, I'm sorry about that. It's so warm outside. It's like 30. It's like 34. When they arrived to Canada, they felt the need to conform quickly to the workplace culture in order to fit in. Some of my friends even changed their names to adopt more of a Western sound in order to have more of a sense of identity. So now we'll answer a big question. Is having friends who accept you for who you are can boost your confidence and reduce stress? We all know that. But what's the extent of this impact on your wellness and well-being? Think about it. When you have friends, you have a circle of people that believe in you. You have people that will push you to take action. You will have people that will help you navigate the challenges and also celebrate your successes. It's all about having your own cheerleading squad. So, without further ado, I will introduce our guest because he will be able to give us a better input on how that has helped him to integrate in his coming to Canada. In today's episode, we're going to be joined by Vatsal Sood, who will share their insight on why we feel the need to fit in and now we can find our true selves. Vatsal has an extensive experience in social dynamics and has helped many people navigate the complexities of fitting in and finding their tribe. He is a public speaking coach and founder of Resilient Speakers, where he helps professionals communicate with clarity and confidence. Before transitioning into coaching, He spent a decade working in the tech industry as a software developer. He understands firsthand the challenges the technical professional face when expressing ideas. Today, he draw on that experience to help people overcome anxiety, articulate their message, and speak with impact, whether on stage or in the workplace. So please help me welcome our very interesting special guest today, Vatsal Sood.
Hey, André, nice to be here. Thanks for the great introduction.
I hope that you don't mind me wiping my forehead
It's all right.
a few times there. So
I
Vatsal,
have my fan here too, yeah.
good. So could you tell me a little bit about yourself and what brought you to what brought us to connect today?
Yeah, so a little bit about myself. I'm originally from India and I moved to Canada close to a decade ago. I came here for my master's in computer science as a student, and then I just stayed here in Nova Scotia. I worked in the technical industry for a decade, as you just mentioned. I switched jobs as a lot of software developers do, looking for better pays and better opportunities. But something in me wasn't clicking. I wasn't enjoying sitting behind a computer as much after like working in the industry for a while. I like connecting with people. I like talking to people. And that was quite evident in all my roles as well, because I was the only conduit between software developers and the managers that could speak both their languages. So I was thinking I want to work with people, I want to help people because that gives me more fulfillment. So that's how I decided to get into public speaking, because I can have an impact over larger audiences and I can connect with people. The best feeling is when after I do a speech, somebody comes up to me and they're like, "Thank you for speaking up to that topic. It really resonated with me and I have struggled through that in my life as well." You gave a really good story about how you struggle to integrate in the culture as an immigrant, struggle to integrate in the culture as well. So I speak a lot about that as well. So yeah, that's the best fulfillment I get when I do a speech and somebody from the audience is like, "Thank you for speaking up. I'm glad you did. And it helped me a lot." So that lights me up more than how software or coding ever did. So yeah.
Did you always have that light inside of you that you wanted to speak?
No, not really.
No?
So as a software developer, as you could imagine, my brain used to run at like 500 horsepower and my mouth would not keep up with me. I'm like, blah, blah, just like ramble on and people would just look at me and they'll be like, "What are you saying?" It's like some other language. So yeah, no, first I just decided to do it for fun. I was like, I want to learn how to articulate myself better. And that's how I started. But then I realized, okay, people pay you for doing speaking. I'm like, yeah, I want to do that because I was finding my way. I was like enjoying public speaking. And after a while, I decided to do it professionally. And I never looked back after that.
Good. I'm really happy. I'm really happy to hear that because that's how me and you cross path. It's by the public speaking.
Exactly.
So can you share an experience where you felt the pressure to fit in while on your public speaking journey?
Oh, the pressure to fit in. That's a good question, man. So as I said, I'm just immigrated from India, right? And here I had no friends, nobody I really knew. And the first thing immigrants, at least I did, was find a tribe, find a group of people like I had back home. Like we used to chat, roast each other, and have a lot of fun. So I was looking for that, and for that I went to a lot of circles. I tried a lot of activities. I tried dancing, I tried sports, and public speaking was one of them. And every place I would go, I would feel the friction between how I used to talk and my ideas and how I used to express myself and how the local population was doing it. So I had to, like, you probably notice I don't talk like how a typical Indian person would, because when I used to talk, people are like, "We don't get it." And I had to like modify how I was speaking up to fit in there, learn all the slangs. I think you mentioned something in your introduction about slangs, and half of the times I would not understand what people are talking about. Same with the pop culture. I'm not familiar with the pop culture, never really cared about the celebrity names, what shows people are watching. I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta watch TV now.
Mm,
Because as an immigrant, you're working for part-time jobs, paying, studying, education, you don't have time for all that stuff. So you miss out on a lot of things.
right.
So yeah, trying to fit in there was a little hard. And public speaking, it's like first you have to. So English is not my first language. Hindi is my first language. So
Okay.
doing speaking in your second language adds a lot of difficulties as well because you have to come up with the right words to say, and sometimes there's a translator running in your head before you're articulating your thoughts. Okay, this is what I want to say, and how would I say it right in English, not in Hindi? So those were some struggles I faced, and I used to talk fast. I had to slow down a bit. So yeah, it has been quite a journey, man. Like lots of different things. Hmm.
I can picture that. I was not in, like, English is also my second language and French,
Mm.
but I can really relate in the part where, like, speaking slower and also adopting different slang just so your message goes forward. That doesn't mean that you're downgrading your message. You just want to be heard. Well, what advice could you give to someone who would be in your situation? They want to socialize, but it seems like their mind is running their first language faster than their second, which might be English.
So for social situations, I would say just speak up. However, so what mistake I think what I made was
Yeah.
I shut myself down when I was socializing at the early stages because I was like, yeah, I don't want to sound stupid or sound weird because my accent is different while people's accent is, and
Mhm.
yeah, I don't want to stand out. So the advice would be just like speak up. It doesn't matter what your accent is, doesn't matter if you find the right words or not, because the right
Oh, yeah.
people will still support you. I will tell you that some people will look at you weird for sure, like you won't fit in all the groups, because that has happened with me as well. So a lot of groups I still found myself just hanging out by myself, not having a friend group there, but I had to move on from those circles. So the thing is, like, the sooner you know this is not your crowd, the sooner you can move on and sooner you can find your people. The mistake I did was I kept on trying to fit in. I was like, okay, no,
Mm.
I'll just stay here. I'll still get to learn more about this group and I'll still keep trying to fit in. There's always a limit till you should try that. After the limit is reached, you just move on to a different group, to a crowd will accept you more. So the earlier you show yourself, the better it is, and not keep yourself hidden in order to try to fit in. That's what I would say.
So
Yeah.
embracing your uniqueness and making sure that you don't sell yourself, let's just say, just to be part of the crowd.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like the saying. I'd rather be hate for who I am than be loved for who I'm not. Right. And this speaks a lot of wisdom into that.
Mm.
What would you say some common challenges immigrants or minorities might face when trying to fit in?
Uh, the slangs was one. Actually, when I
Yeah.
was talking about the slang, there's a lot of different slangs. But when I was playing volleyball, there was this slang called "good dig," "good dig." I'm like, what are we digging here? I'm like, so there's a lot
Yeah.
of every circle you hang out with, they have their inner jokes that you don't know of, and if you can keep hanging out in that circle, you'll get to know. For I played softball for a bit too, and I was like, I didn't
Did
get
it?
so many slangs there. Sorry, forget what the question was. So, what advice would I give? Or no, we already covered that.
Yeah. What would you say is you like the common challenges immigrants or minorities might be facing when trying to
Mm,
fit in, and how can they overcome them? So you said one of them would be the slangs.
yeah, yeah. And I think the representation, for me at least, I don't see much
Yeah.
representation of my culture anywhere. Like,
Mm,
I'm from India, so the only representation I see is within the Indian community. So, for example, when I'm listening to the radio, right, and they'll be doing some awards and prizes for somebody who calls this number, and they'll come up with a name, and there's always like a name that it's like a North American Christian name. I'm like, why? I'm listening to you too, why don't you include somebody who's even from like African heritage or Middle Eastern or South Asians, like some representation, because we feel included, I guess. And our history is not like known to anybody here. Like people know the history here, but our history is not really known except for to me. So somebody who took more interest in where I come from and what my history is would be definitely would be helpful. So yeah, it's like you have to teach people about your history, and only a few people will take interest in learning about you because most of the people are like they just want to talk about yourself. Like that's normal human
Yeah.
nature. I won't blame the people. It's like everybody wants to share about themselves, but only a few of them would be like, okay, tell me about your culture, tell me about what's happening with you. So finding that those people is quite hard, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
finding people that are genuinely interested into your roots.
Yeah.
You see, I've been on the constant journey of finding my tribe. I've tried so many different hobbies just to find maybe like a group of people or people that would be able to, you know, vibe with, or just basically reciprocate our energy. You know, I grew up playing soccer. I played some hockey. I did a little bit of baseball. Then I got into a track team when I was in university. Then I tried bodybuilding. Then after the bodybuilding, I got into the breakdancing. And while I was in the breakdancing, I did the jiu-jitsu. Then the jiu-jitsu was not for me because it was a different challenge. I was more frustrated after I was done the session. So then I wanted to challenge myself. So I started rugby. I've never played rugby a day in my life, but I wanted to try and see if it was for me and also make some friends. And I didn't want to do it half-assed. So I told myself I was going to give me the challenge to really put the effort and the time into it and to find myself, a piece of myself that I like. So I did it for 3 years. It's really hard on your body. There's going to be an upcoming episode on rugby on this season, so stay tuned for that. But I've realized that I might have been. Oh, I also did yoga. So for a little bit, I've realized that I might have been I might have been looking at the wrong place, but I had the right intentions. And it's when I stopped looking and I really looked deep inside and I asked the reason why I wanted that. And I started to be my friend first. And by respecting myself and respecting my boundaries, that's where I started to attract the right people. And that I no longer felt like I had to settle, or no longer like I felt like I had to put the effort. I was just attracting people my way with the intention that I had set. So could you tell me what was the importance of setting your boundaries in fitting in? Because you said you at one point you wanted to adapt, and that you also said that keeping your authenticity and who you are is important for you. So what are some boundaries that you set to yourself and you were like, I'm not going to cross that, I'm not going to sell my soul just so I feel like I have the validation that I'm worthy to be around.
Yeah, so I've been lucky that I found some good friends. Like I have later realized in my life now that I just need a couple of good people, as you said, to find your tribe. If
Okay.
I have a couple of good people that support me and have that unconditional support, that's all I really need. So, and I really liked the activities that you were talking about. It's like looking in a mirror, man. I was thinking about all the activities you've done. I've been on a similar track. I'm like, yes, done that. Yes, done that. So it kind of sounded like we have both have been on the same journey. Like when you said boundaries, I was thinking we need to switch from people pleasing to self pleasing, like go to what we like instead of what people are expecting us to do. But in terms of boundaries now, like I look at my schedule before I decide who to hang out with. So, for example, if I have a thing on Saturday that is okay, I don't like the vibe of the people, and I don't feel seen, I suppose, and I don't feel like opening up around them, and I'm really tired. that day, for example, from a fitness thing from on Friday, then I'll totally cancel on them and I'll bail on them and I won't care about going. And before I would feel FOMO. I would be like, yeah, I should go there because who knows, I'll make some good friends and who knows, these people might be nice and I could fit in and all that. But now I'm like, no, I think I've given them a plenty of opportunity. It's okay to stay at home and look after myself, go do yoga. I'm into meditation as well, so I like
I
doing
love that.
meditation.
Love
Yeah,
that.
on Friday. So I wouldn't mind sitting home on Friday now, but before I would be like, just go out and party and stuff and try to like socialize. But now I'm like, okay, I'll just go to bed on time. I'll get my morning meditation in on Saturday, and I'm happy with that because that will fill my cup more than trying to go and try to see which people will like me and if I like those people or not. Because at the end of the day, I just need a couple of people who support my journey so far. And I know they're there, and that's all I really need, to be honest. It's good to have more people who you can interact with, but again, my mental health and my physical health are more important to me. And for that, I actually just rely on my calendar, and I see if somebody fits in, and if they don't, then I don't mind canceling plans at this point.
Uh,
Yeah. Hmm.
for people, it's quality over quantity, but
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like for ourselves is the quantity of quality. It's how much we can give ourselves good self-care. And what came from that practice, from mindfulness and meditation, I was easier on myself. I started to practice self-compassion, and I've always been a huge nerd, man. I'm not gonna hide. I like comics. I like manga. I like stories. I like novels. I like suspense. I like horror. I like movies. I like all of it. But there was a time where I was asking myself, is that white? Should I like that? Because I don't see a lot of black people that like those things. And that's where I started to be more interested to things that were not necessarily aligning with me. And it's when I started doing the mindfulness meditation, I started to slow down and realize, like, why am I doing this? I'm not a competitive person in nature. I like having a good time and like work towards maybe a little bit of competition, but otherwise I'm not gonna make my goal to conquer something. I love to lead, but I will assist people, or I will go my way. And I've realized that when I took accountability for the things that I like, and I was like, you know what, I like all these things, and I don't think there should be a color associated to it. I was curious enough to find interest, and now, like, I'm not gonna coax myself, or I'm not going to shame myself for liking these things. So I got deeper into manga, I got deeper into comic books, I got deeper into my weird stuff, my weirdness. And that's where I realized, it's like, wow, I'm not isolating myself. I'm just taking care of myself and what I want in this life. I'm aligning with my purpose. And that, even if that means I'm not gonna be surrounded by people every weekend, right? That's not who I am. I've accepted that. And from there, I understood that, like, I didn't need the validation. I didn't need to see the constant support. So,
No, very good point. Yeah. So on the theme of, sorry if I can just add there, like on the theme of fitting in, when you start doing what you're doing, like at least in case of immigrants, we are like neither at our home country anymore, and we are still trying to fit in into the new country. So when you jump into things that are you're really passionate about. So for example, I do diamond painting, and when I started my business, I was talking about mental health a lot.
that's
So
amazing.
my friends from India would contact me like, "What the fuck are you doing, dude?" So yeah, I wasn't fitting in with my friends back home now because they're like, "We don't get this new version, Canadian version of you. What are you talking?" Because
Yeah, yeah.
they're still stuck in that machoism mindset, right? They're like, we are dudes,
Yeah.
we don't do stuff like that. But I was like, this is giving me peace because I have a lot of ADD symptoms that it's hard for me to focus sometimes. So that's why I'm like, I'll do diamond painting because it lets me sit there for hours and I can focus there and I can listen to a nice podcast. But again, as you said, it's like our weirdness and I enjoy doing it. So I'm like, I don't give a shit what you guys think. So
Yeah.
I'll do it. So and if
So that brings perfectly to my next question. What do you
yeah,
think is the long term benefit of staying true to yourself rather than just trying to fit in?
very good.
When your friend from back home texted you and he was like, "What are you doing? Like that's not you." But
Yeah.
like, what do you think in the long term keeping that weirdness will do to you?
I think the way you show up for everything. So for me, at least, it improved a lot or how I showed up for everything. I'm a much better person when I take that evening off or when I take that day off and I shut my phone down and I don't do anything work related or I'm doing something that I just like. For example, you said so many things that I do. For example, meditation, I do diamond painting. I like to dance a lot as well. Sometimes I'm trying to actually do this more that I put some music on at home and I just start dancing because I've never done that in my
Mhm.
life. But it sounds like you're releasing a lot of energy. And I'm exploring a lot of different things. Like there is EFT tapping I've heard of recently. I'm like, I want to explore that. So the point is when you start doing all these things, you discover what you actually like, and you are not relying on external things like people for your own happiness and what fills your cup. So you just take an evening off, you fill your cup, and the next day when you show up for your clients or you show up for work, you are just happier and you are nicer and you're spreading those good vibes in the world. But if you are not doing that, if you are just like people pleasing, just going go, 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 I'm like that warrior mindset, like actually warrior mindset, I do have a warrior mindset, but I do take
Yeah.
breaks as well.
Good.
It's not like this
Balance.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You need to have a balance because if you keep pushing yourself, you don't take breaks, you're just going to be a grumpy ass person who are just like being mad at the world for no reason, and you act like the
Yeah.
world owes you shit. So which is not how it is. So
Yeah,
just take yeah,
it's not the
yeah.
positive mindset you should have.
No, no, yeah, and people won't
Yeah.
be like people, and you start playing victim eventually. Like, yeah, the
Yeah.
world did this to me, and blah blah blah. So it's always good to
Yeah.
take a break. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where I realized, I love yoga, I love all these things, and with the public speaking, that's how we met. You were asking me how I got into public speaking, the Toastmaster, and everything that I've done my entire life. I was always there, maybe the first black guy or the only black guy, and it's only always the same, and it's always been a pressure, right? It's like the weight of my culture is hanging out on my actions, and I've realized that I shouldn't feel like that. Even if I grew up that way, and I might have had behaviors that led me to 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 act that way. I've realized finally in my adulthood that I need to do what I love. I can't be thinking all the time, having a cloud over my head. I'm going to attract attention to myself. That's weird. I shouldn't be there and all that. You're Asian. You love country. That's it. There's nothing wrong with that. I every time I walk in the room, it's always a conversation piece instead of being disadvantaged. For me, that's
Mm,
how I see it. And I found that if there's not many regrets that I have in my life, I don't have, if there would be, but if there would be one, it would be to not have act sooner, because there's so many things that I've lost. There's so many opportunities that I've lost out of shyness. And now I've realized that it's just speaking for myself that would have made me, I would have been accepted by others.
mm,
People respect, real recognize real. So if there would be something that I'm always going constantly from since a long time ago, when I walk in the room, it's not a disadvantage. It's a conversation piece. Everyone is on the same level. Doesn't matter. So I'm really happy that we were able to have this conversation, Vatsal, because I needed to speak with someone about this, and there's no greater guest than you. So lastly, could you tell me what you got in store, what's your next step, and how can people find you?
Sure. So right now, as I was just telling you, I'm organizing the TEDx in my city, Halifax. I'm the speaker coach for that. So that's on the horizon right now. We have less than a month for the TEDx event. So I'm actually quite involved in that, working on that. And then I'm working on the Disrupt Halifax event, speaker coach for that. And in between, I'm also doing speaking gigs. I'll be speaking at the CPHR conference. And yeah. So like I'm trying to fit all it, as you said, trying to take breaks while I do all that. But yeah, lots of and I work for the government as well, and I'm trying to get a speaking thing started there. I did a training last week there. So trying to do more in the community as well, trying to reach out to more people and see what they're struggling with, so I can include that in my speeches. But I really loved your point you made, man. Like finding your passion sooner always helps, because imagine if we knew that you could get paid for speaking 10 years ago, where would we would be right now, right? So I just discovered speaking 5 years ago, and if I had discovered it sooner, I would be like, I don't know, much ahead. So yeah, but I guess it's a journey. We'll get there eventually. It doesn't matter. And,
your time is now, man. You're at the right place right now.
Exactly. Yeah, couldn't be better. Had a better place. And to find me, I'm on LinkedIn. You can just search me by my name, Vatsal Sood, and I should come up. And I have a community online as well where I'm running speaking trainings. It's called Resilient Speakers, as you said. So it's on a platform called School. It's a very nice platform. So it's a community there where we chat about public speaking and do weekly calls. So that's another place where you can find me. On Instagram, I'm by Coach Vatsal, and I think that's all the platforms I'm on right now. Yeah,
that's great. I'm sure people was gonna be googling you right after, and also all the links to your accounts are gonna be in the show description. I'm really happy that we had this conversation. This is the cherry on top.
Yeah.
So one last question is, what is the eyes to us to you?
What is the eyes? Sorry.
What is the eyes to us podcast to you?
Oh, okay.
What does it mean?
I just mentioned community, so I didn't know this podcast would be a community for me, man. I didn't know about your life journey so far, and as I said a couple of times, that your life has been quite similar to me. Even though I immigrated from India here and you grew up here, looks like we were walking parallelly to each other. We just got to meet just through this podcast. So I think this is like it's like a community sense for me, because no worries. It's like a feeling seen and resonating with somebody who has been through similar struggles. So it's like, I don't know, I would say more like a community and a homeliness feeling, I would say. So, which is very important in this day and age.
It is. I'm very sorry if my notification cut you off for a bit, but okay. I'm always curious to hear about what it means to my guests, because you've just made this experience wholer. You've just made it more complete. So thank you very much, Vatsal, for your advice and thought on today's topic. So this wraps it up for today's episode of The Eyes to Us. We spoke on the reasons why we want to fit in as individual and as in a society, and it's by Vatsal is expressing the different challenges that he has faced when immigrating to Canada, that we were able to also discuss the many common reason why it is important to have a trustworthy circle, and also to keep your authenticity, to protect your authenticity in order to thrive, and to not seek validation, but to seek self-compassion and just to enjoy the ride, enjoy becoming. This was another episode of the Eyes to Us. I will put all the link in the show description. You can find more information on my coaching services on www.andrezamore.com. And for now, I will leave you with this. Stay at peace, stay evolving, and what is to us is all up to us. Thank you, Vatsal.
No, thanks, man.
Have a nice evening.
You too. Thank you.
A little bit abstract when you're just walking around trying to think up stuff. And there are no physical parts. You're just trying to grab something out of the air, an idea, or and then you realize that a lot of it's just trying to solve the riddle of life.